When Anna led the Earth Giants to break the dam which was hurting the enchanted forest, she reconciled the mistake of her grandfather from years and years ago. But as a result, it looked that her kingdom was going to be flooded. Thankfully, Elsa was able to step in and prevent that disaster, allowing peace for everyone because the dam was now broken, saving the enchanted forest and the people in it, and Arendelle was still standing. But should Elsa have instead stayed aside and let Arendelle be flooded? I definitely don't think so, but also, if she had, that would have been okay, I guess. Confused? I'll explain. Hey y'all, I'm the Geek Apprentice, and I am still in love with Frozen 2 even after all this time, which it is now officially streaming on Disney+, which is great because I haven't bought the DVD yet. I related to Elsa and Anna so much in this film, individually and for completely different reasons. It was really interesting. And one of the most hard-hitting moments was Anna's song, The Next Right Thing, which I have a whole video about breaking down that moment and what it says about this completely underrated character. Something strange I've heard about this film, though, has to do with Anna's difficult but correct choice to have the dam be broken. Some thought Arendelle deserved to be destroyed, and while I understand where people are coming from with that, it actually makes no sense to have that line of thought. I'm going to delve into it, but I do want to make a couple of things clear first. Anyone who's done their research on the film knows that the Northuldra people in the film are meant to reflect the Sami people of Norway, which is super cool, and I totally respect that. I love that connection to our reality. Well, Norway's reality, but our real world. You get the point. Also, if you watch my content on the regular, you probably know I tend to avoid risky topics because this is meant to just be fun. Just fun, lighthearted conversations, and I want to keep that in this video. My goal in this video is the same as every other video, to have fun, having a lighthearted conversation about something I enjoy, something geeky I enjoy, in this case, Disney, specifically Frozen 2. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about Frozen 2, specifically just that story, and whether or not the developers made the correct decision in letting Elsa prevent Arendelle from being flooded. I think they made the right decision. Or did they? Well, that's what this video is about, so let's get into it. For those who don't remember, King Runard, who is the grandfather of Elsa and Anna and father of their father, Agnar, wanted to build that dam. However, he had nefarious reasoning. He misled the Northuldra people to believe that it would be a good thing for their home, when in actuality, it was a very bad thing for their forest. When King Runard brought some of his soldiers as well as his young-ish son Agnar to the edge of the enchanted forest to celebrate the making of the dam, he turned on them. They were having a fine time until he, King Runard, pulled his sword on the tribe leader. Chaos ensued, and at the time Prince Agnar was kind of far away from the situation and had no idea what had happened except that there was a fight. Thankfully, a young Iduna, who becomes the mother of Elsa and Anna and also becomes the wife of Agnar, who is one of the Northuldra people, called upon the spirits to save Agnar. After this, she was unable to re-enter her home of the enchanted forest due to the barrier that now existed both metaphorically and literally between her home and the outskirts of Arendelle. She instead grew up in Arendelle, and eventually she and Agnar fell in love and married, making her queen of Arendelle. That barrier would remain until the daughters of Agnar and Iduna, Elsa and Anna, who we all know and love, fixed it all. Elsa was gifted her ice powers to be the fifth spirit of the forest, because she and Anna are the product of a literal union between the Northuldra tribe and Arendelle via their parents, Iduna from the Northuldra, and Agnar from Arendelle. I just think the symbolism there is so cool. And like Elsa says, a bridge has two entrances, it has two sides, which is why both she and Anna were needed. Elsa finds the truth, and Anna makes the difficult decision that would lead to the reconciling of these two communities. And they all live happily ever after, Elsa as the fifth spirit living with the Northuldra tribe in the enchanted forest, finding her true home, finally, and Anna as the new queen of Arendelle with a newfound confidence in herself. Now, when I originally saw this in theaters, I knew Disney was not going to let Arendelle be flooded, but had they allowed that, I wouldn't have been upset, because that just would have been the natural result of the reconciliation via breaking the dam. I mean, if anything, the people could have just worked together to rebuild the kingdom and it would have all been fine either way. What bothers me is how people actually think that Arendelle needed to be destroyed. Let me ask you this. Should a son be punished for the sins of his father? No, of course not. How does that fix anything? It just brings about more hurt. Likewise, Elsa, Anna, and the people of Arendelle did not cause this rift between the Northuldra and Arendelle. It was the previous generation, namely their grandfather, King Runard, and his soldiers. Yeah, they're supposed to be representatives of Arendelle, but clearly they didn't do a good job. The problem was those specific people, not the kingdom as a whole. It wasn't Arendelle, Elsa, or Anna's fault. Hence, destroying Arendelle wouldn't fix anything. It would just be more violence and harm done that doesn't actually reconcile the situation. Be prepared to hear some of these words a lot. I really should have used a thesaurus when I wrote this script, just saying. However, reconciliation was needed, but simply destroying a kingdom, thereby hurting tons of innocent people who know nothing of the situation through no fault of their own, yeah, that's not how you reconcile. So how do you do it? We see it in the movie, what Anna did. Now, again, she and Elsa are not the ones who caused this pain. It was their grandfather. Hurting them or their people is not the same as punishing their grandfather, the one who actually needed to be punished. It's not the same thing. It's his sin, not theirs. But as rulers of the kingdom, Anna and Elsa, you could say, do have a responsibility to try and mend the hurt between these two communities. And what is the one thing standing as a literal symbol of that hurt? Not the people of Arendelle, not even the kingdom of Arendelle, but the dam. Breaking the dam frees the enchanted forest and on some level reverses sort of what King Runard did. And what would be the result of breaking the dam? Yeah, the flooding of Arendelle. Arendelle being flooded would have been the sad result of something else that was necessary. Flooding Arendelle wasn't necessary, breaking the dam was necessary. Although if we want to be really specific, it's not just breaking the dam that was necessary. It was the dam being broken, which is a part of it, by a ruler of Arendelle. But Arendelle doesn't get flooded because Elsa does an act that mirrors what her mother, Iduna, did for her father, Agnar, all those years ago. She saved Arendelle. Again, allowing peace for both sides of the bridge. Merely punishing innocent people of the kingdom of Arendelle would not make up for what King Runard did. Instead, what actually brings peace is Anna's decision to break the barrier between the Northuldra tribe and her kingdom. And yeah, it kind of did have to be her because it was her grandfather that put it in place. Not her fault, but it makes more sense that it came from her. Allow me to give an example that might be considered somewhat silly and is certainly not on the exact same level, but might make what I'm trying to say a little bit clearer. Say you have two homes, neighbors. They're really, really close. They're good friends, or at least they seem like it. The father in house number 1 gets mad at house number 2 and the people in it and breaks their windows, hurting not just the house, but probably also the people in it. And the family in house number 2, for whatever reason, has no way to repair those windows, leaving a rift both physically and metaphorically between the two homes. Now, generations have passed and the people in home number 1, namely the granddaughter and her family and friends, don't know about this disaster. But home number 2 still has the broken window and broken hearts of the people inside it. Would it really make sense to punish the granddaughter for something, 1, wasn't her fault, and 2, she doesn't even know about anyway? Simple answer, no, it wouldn't. Now let's say she finds a video of what happened, and she has been brought up with a kind heart that has strong morals and wants to find peace with everyone. While she isn't responsible for what happened, she doesn't want the hurt to be there anymore. So she mends the windows herself, using her own time and money to fix and reconcile what her grandfather did. She didn't have to, but in a way it was the good and right thing to do for anyone that has a basic moral conscience. Now you know what wouldn't make sense? To just needlessly hurt her or just take money from her, because does that reconcile anything? It would maybe fix the windows if they decide to use the money that way, but it didn't come from her heart. She didn't make the decision to fix this family rift. Forcing her to do anything, even if it would end up with the windows being rebuilt, wouldn't actually reconcile anything, and it would end up just causing more hurt because she wouldn't understand, why am I being punished for something my grandfather did? It's not my fault. The reconciliation came from her choosing from her own good heart to mend the windows, even though it wasn't her fault and she wasn't responsible for it, nor did she have to fix it, although you could argue, if you have been taught to be a good person and want to bring about peace, especially as a Christian, then you could argue, yeah, you kind of did have a responsibility. Depends on how you look at it. But again, just punishing her or forcing her to do something, that's not reconciliation. That doesn't fix anything. Oh my gosh, I'm rambling. Let's get back to my points. Focus. Elsa and Anna were not responsible for what happened. Simply hurting Arendelle wouldn't fix anything but harm more people and cause more rifts. The beauty is that these two sisters found themselves in a position where they could do something about it, and they chose to act upon it. Anna saw a way to reconcile with the Northuldra and save the forest by breaking that dam. Of course she didn't want to hurt her kingdom, though she knew they were away from the town and safe, but she knew that the only way to truly mend the hurt her grandfather did, though not her fault, was to tear down that barrier. Flooding Arendelle would not fix what happened, but if it had happened, would have simply been the sad result of what she saw as her opportunity to build a bridge and bring peace. And even more beauty is that mirrored situation as aforementioned. Elsa, being the fifth spirit of the forest, comes to save Arendelle, as if her actions say, hey, you did the right thing, Anna, by tearing down the dam. Now we, the Northuldra, will save Arendelle in return. Some might say, well, that's not fair after what the Northuldra people went through, although I just explained how hurting Arendelle doesn't fix anything. But it is also not fair to hurt innocent people for the crimes of their ancestors. Something else that should be noted is that by this point in the film, Elsa, as the fifth spirit, is now working in harmony with the other four spirits. If for some reason Arendelle truly deserved to be destroyed by that flood, wouldn't they have resisted Elsa's attempts to stop it? But because the other four spirits did not offer any resistance to Elsa saving and protecting Arendelle, I can't help but conclude that the right thing to do was to help Arendelle in return, again bringing peace and harmony to both edges of the bridge. Obviously, breaking the dam fixed many issues on a physical level, but the hearts of Anna and Elsa, their intentions, love, and desire to bring peace is what actually brought the harmony. Anger and revenge bring nothing but destruction and violence no matter who you think is right. Love and a desire for peace is what led each of their actions, breaking the dam and saving Arendelle. My point is, Disney handled this story beautifully. If you still don't see it, okay, whatever, I tried my best. This is just a fun video anyway. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it made sense despite the points where I started to get a little rambly. I had a script that I wrote, but sometimes even my scripts get rambly. I have to be careful about that. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite song from Frozen 2 is. Mine always ends up being a tie between Show Yourself, which makes me cry, and The Next Right Thing, which also makes me cry, for completely different reasons. They're just so good. I just love this film and I hope you do too. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider checking out my other content and joining the geekdom by subscribing. Also, just as a suggestion, I would also follow me on Instagram at The Geek Apprentice if you want to see updates, random pictures, and sometimes I do random Q&A Instagram story sessions. It's fun. But anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching.